Hey Playas, how you doing? Welcome back to Playas Guide. It's been a while and I got another video on Rare Games. This video is covering the original Game Boy. Not the Game Boy Color, not the Game Boy Advanced, only original Game Boy games. And I'm going to keep it to the North American licensed collection. Not already subscribed to Playas Guide and you are a fan of retro games or you enjoy video game collecting, then please go ahead and subscribe. You won't regret it. This channel is full of retro gaming and game collecting content. You can also find Playas Guide on Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, or you're watching YouTube, Twitter, I don't know, everywhere. We also have a Playas Guide podcast that you should go check out as well. You can download it for free off of Podbean and other major podcast services. So you're here to find out about Game Boy games and Game Boy collecting and what's rare. Right out of the gate, there's a Game Boy test cart that allows you to test buttons and your screen. This is very rare and somewhat expensive. I feel like it's a little bit undervalued considering how rare this cartridge actually is, which was used in service centers back in the very late 80s and early 90s. That's the only way I know of that you could get a hold of a copy of this test cartridge. There's also some not for resale cartridges out there, and if you see these, you might be able to get lucky and pick them up for the same price as a regular priced copy of the game. But these games are much more rare. They are demo cartridges, either sent out for review or displayed in store for people to play. What you're probably here for is the top 10 rarest games. So the number one rarest game on the Game Boy is Amazing Tater. This game was originally scheduled to be released as the sequel to Quirk, but it wasn't. Instead, it was the sequel. I think it might be an unofficial sequel, but the sequel nonetheless to Spud's Adventure, which is next on this list as the second rarest game, released the year before. These puzzle games weren't really well received, and being released by Atlas is notorious, as many of you may know, for having shorter print runs for a lot of their games, or only one print run that's limited. The number 3 game on the list is Toxic Crusaders. Toxic Crusaders, this video game was out on other platforms, including the NES and the Genesis. The Game Boy was the less popular platform, making this the more rare version of the game. But the game all around is pretty hard to come by because it is based off of a short-lived animated series that was based off of a violent B-movie from the late 80s. And the next game on the list is Jimmy Connor's Tennis. It's also quite uncommon on the NES, but it's even more rare on the Game Boy. Again, this is because the Game Boy was not the preferred platform for this game, which already had a limited release due to the popularity of tennis in North America. Now, a European copy of this game may be easier for you to find. F1 Pole Position is another game that sold very well, or I guess I shouldn't say very well, but it sold better in Europe than it did in North America. Formula One racing is not as popular in North America as stock car racing is. And because of that, a lot of these Formula One games over here in North America are uncommon or rare. This one is especially rare because it is on the Game Boy. It also was released on the Super Nintendo, so this game came out in 1993, and the Super Nintendo also would have been the preferred version. Avenging Spirit, so the game released in Europe and Japan, was a little bit different. The cover art significantly different than this one. This cover art that we got here in North America shows like a gangster looking guy from the 1930s firing off a gun. So the cover and label of this game is a little bit deceptive. The 7th game on the list of Rare Game Boy games is Mega Man 5. So this game uses some similar sprites that you may recognize from some of your favorite Mega Man games on the NES, but it is its own game. And because of that, it is sought after by many collectors and Mega Man fans. And this game did not get the biggest production run like the Mega Man games on the NES or the Super Nintendo. Not that it got a small one, but because of its popularity and because it's a bit uncommon, it's really driven up the price and supply for this game. Now, the same could be said for the next game on this list. Coming in at number 8 is Mega Man 4, another quality Mega Man game that you can only play on your original Game Boy if you're looking for a physical copy. Now, another popular franchise is Castlevania. Castlevania Legends kind of falls in the same ballpark as these Mega Man games. Popular franchise, pretty decent game. This one got a very late release in the original Game Boy's lifespan, and that definitely contributed to sales of the game and why it is so rare and makes it onto this list, especially for a Castlevania game. The 10th game on the list is Sumo Fighter. Obviously not really going to be the most popular game that's going to sell millions of copies, and I think the developers knew that, so they didn't give it the biggest release, and that's the reason why Sumo Fighter is on this list. Now let's go run down a few underrated rares and hidden gems, some overpriced games, and some uncommons that are not so well known. And I do this in all of the Playas Guide collecting videos for the rarity guides. I think people seem to like that. And if you have some ideas or know of some games that you feel should be on this list, please let me know in the comments below. We got Kid Dracula, Roland's Curse, Knight's Quest, Darkman, Shaq Fu, Ninja Toro, Felix the Cat, Cool World, Snow Brothers, Tailgater, Dick Tracy, Blaster Master, Sword of Hope, Mr. Do, Ninja Gaiden Shadow, Great Greed. So keep an eye out for all of those games in your game hunting journeys. Until next time, that's it for this episode of Playas Guide. Keep it retro. Later, players.